Welcome to Box Recaps.
In today's video, we will be going through the 2014 movie, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. It's time to recall. Let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we are taken to October 31st, 2013. In the small town of Texarkana, located on the state line of Arkansas and Texas, the local drive-in theater is hosting the Halloween annual showing of the 1976 film The Town That Dreaded Sundown, based on the true story of the Phantom Killer who murdered several people in and around Texarkana in 1946. Corey Holland and Jamie Lerner are watching the film. As the movie goes on, Jamie starts to get disturbed and tells Corey that she does not feel like watching the film anymore, and the two leave. We then see a reverend who is distributing posters of his church among people as he wants more people to show up every day. Corey, on the other hand, goes on to drive Jamie to a secluded area where he stops the car and the two begin chatting. Jamie goes on to tell him that she has applied to a new college which is in a different town, and if she is able to get admission in that college, she is going to have to leave the city soon. Corey tells her that he is really happy for her and then goes on to kiss her. Jamie then sees the Phantom Killer in the woods. Corey tells her to ignore it as he thinks that it might be someone trying to pull a prank on them, but Jamie is scared, so they decide to leave, but the Phantom breaks the window and makes them get out of the car while pointing a gun at them. He makes Corey remove his pants and lie on the ground. Corey says that he is not going to do so, but Jamie is too scared. She wants to get out of there alive at any cost, so she tells him to do as the man asks or they could get killed. He tells Jamie to turn around and to not look back. The Phantom begins to slash Corey to death. Jamie runs off but is caught when she falls. He tells her, "This is for Mary. Make them remember." Jamie walks back to the drive-in and collapses. She is taken to the hospital, and the next morning, the police interview Jamie at the hospital. They ask her to explain the incident, and she tells them everything. She also tells them what the man said to her in her ear and left after that. Later that night, Jamie and her grandmother Lillian watch the news about the attack. Jamie asks her grandmother what she remembers from the original attacks. Her grandmother goes on to tell her that no one could ever understand why the killer was killing so many people. They just used to think that it was a boogeyman who disappears after killing his victims. Her grandmother says that the man attacked the teenagers first, the ones who were present at the Lover's Lane. She researches the crimes and goes on to learn that Mary was the first victim, and she now thinks that the man has some connection with Mary. She looks out her window and is a little relieved to see that there are two police cars outside her house, the people who are there to protect her. The next day, Jamie attends Corey Holland's funeral, which does not turn out to be a good idea as Corey's mother loses her cool when she sees Jamie. She right away blames the girl for Corey's death. Jamie gets really traumatized, and the people around her tell her to seek professional help. She goes to a psychiatrist who goes on to tell her that she needs to give herself some time, adding that it will get better in time. She, however, says that she is just done with herself. She says that she feels like she is cursed because anyone who tries to get close to her ends up dead. Jamie tells the woman that when she was a kid, she went somewhere with her parents, they got into an accident and died, and since then, she's been living with her grandmother. Her psychiatrist tells her not to blame herself for these things as it was just a coincidence. The scene changes, and 2 days before Thanksgiving, Kendra Collins goes to the airport to meet her boyfriend Daniel Torrens, returning from the military. They have sex at a motel. He leaves to get snacks from a vending machine. Kendra hears something and looks out the window. The Phantom smashes the window with her boyfriend's severed head. She jumps out of the bathroom window, breaking her leg as she lands. She limps to the car but is killed while trying to start it. He then takes out Corey's phone, and the scene changes to Jamie, who receives a phone call from Holland's phone. The Phantom tells her that he is going to do it again and again until she makes them remember Mary. She decides to tell her police escort, Deputy Foster, about the incident. The man tells her not to worry about it, adding that he himself is going to conduct an investigation. The next day, the whole town goes on to learn about the murder of the soldier and his girlfriend, and they are unable to understand why the Phantom Killer has come back to the town. The people of the town are now called to a meeting, and the officers tell them to keep their kids inside the house after sundown, and they should also keep their doors and windows locked. Jamie goes to the City Hall archives to continue her research on the Phantom Killer. There, she sees a boy named Nick, and it turns out that he is her classmate. They get to talk, and she tells him what she has been up to, and he decides to help her with her research. She goes on to get her hands on a few files that help her a little to understand what happened back in 1946 when she learns that a man was arrested as well, and it was thought that he was the murderer. On the other hand, Texas Ranger Lone Wolf Morales takes over the investigation. He makes it abundantly clear to everyone in his team that he needs their full dedication in this mission, adding that he plans on getting his hands on the killer as soon as possible. When Jamie gets home that evening, she receives a letter, and it turns out to be from the college she applied to. She's been accepted and they are calling her to join the class starting soon. The next day, she is working on her laptop when she receives an email, and it turns out to be from the Phantom Killer. The killers told her that he committed all of those murders over 66 years ago, and no one was able to catch him back then, and no one is going to be able to catch him now either. He adds that he is a demon who is going to destroy this town. She then goes to the police and shows them the email. The man in charge there tells her that this email is fake, adding that someone is just trying to prank her because a real killer would never send her an email like that. She then tells them that she has been conducting her own research on the matter as well. She reveals that she found out that back in 1946, a man named Benjamin was arrested for the murders in the town, but that the deputy tells her that the man she is talking about is a simple thief who was arrested by mistake, and he had nothing to do with being the Phantom Killer. Jamie then says that the man she is talking about also had a son who was an absolute psychopath. It could be him too, but the deputy tells her again that the man she is talking about died 2 years ago. This is how all her theories are proven wrong. That evening, Nick comes to see Jamie at her house, and he has brought her a few more documents. Jamie now asks him why he has been helping her, and he tells her that he has had a crush on her since the school days, adding that he always wanted to approach her, but never found enough courage in himself to be able to do so. He tells her that he just wants to help her, adding that she needs a friend right now. He says that in the evening, the people of the town are gathering at an event that has been set up to honor the soldier who was killed a few days ago. While there, the masked Phantom shows up and is shot down by a Marine officer. When Jamie goes there to take off the man's mask, it turns out that it's a student from her own school. The news is told to the host of a social event and they celebrate. Afterwards, band members Johnny and Roy leave the dance and are warned by Deputy Tillman to go straight home. They decide instead to park at a lonely junkyard. While there, they see the Phantom. Johnny runs from the car. Roy drives off but is hit in the head and crashes. Johnny is beaten and Roy gets tied up. The Phantom recreates the trombone weapon from the original film. Johnny is then shot to death before Roy is stabbed to death. The next day, Deputy Foster tells Jamie that the man who was shot down at the vigil was a suicidal teen dressed up as the Phantom and that there were 2 more murders. He tells her that the real Phantom Killer is still out there, and she is shocked to learn this. That evening, she goes out to hang out with Nick, and they are sitting in the car when she tells him about how her parents died. He comes closer to her as she tells him the story, and he leans in to kiss her, but she stops him and tells him to get out of there. The next morning, Ranger Morales and Chief Deputy Tillman visit Reverend Cartwright at his church. They discover that he sent Jamie the email, but they do not believe he is the Phantom. They then go on to ask him why on earth did he send the girl that email. He tells them that he was sick of sitting alone in his church all day. He wanted fear in people's hearts, so he sent out that email and it worked. Now people come to his church on a regular basis and his plan succeeded. That night, Jamie goes to see Nick again and she apologizes to him for her behavior earlier. He then gives her a necklace and she accepts him. He confesses that he is in love with her, and we see that she too has feelings for him now. Nick then tells her that he found out that the son of the late film director Charles B. Pierce, who directed the original film, is still alive and lives in Texarkana. If they are able to see him, they might be able to get some information about the Phantom Killer. Chief Deputy Tillman goes to a bar on Christmas Eve and meets up with a woman. At home, he is shot through the eye by the Phantom who is standing outside the window. She runs out of the room and makes her way to a farm where she too is seen by the killer and is shot dead. The next morning, when the owner of the farm wakes up and comes out of his house, he sees a girl's dead body on the pole where he put a scarecrow. He is shocked to see this and goes on to call the police right away. The whole town gets to know about the murder of the sheriff, and they are horrified. On the other hand, Jamie and Nick visit Charles Pierce Jr., where they learn about Hank McCready, a 6th victim of the original Phantom, whose story was forgotten because his whole body was dismembered and they found it on the railway track. The people thought that he committed suicide, which is why no one looked into his death and it was never investigated. It was, however, later on revealed that the man was actually killed by the Phantom Killer, who left his body parts on the railway track. No one got to know about this family who went through a big tragedy. The news of his murder did not even make it to the newspaper, and the whole family was shocked at it. The family wanted to tell the people the whole story, but no one was willing to help them. He gives his opinion that the new Phantom might be Hank McCready's grandson because the family is angered that McCready's death was not remembered. Lerner is told that Hank McCready's wife was named Mary. Jamie is shocked to hear the name Mary because the Phantom Killer whispered the same name in her ear when he murdered Corey. Nick, however, says that he is just making it up. He tells Jamie that she should not at all trust whatever this man has told her. That night, Jamie's grandmother Lillian finds out that Jamie has been accepted to college in California, so she decides to move to California so Jamie can go to school. She tells Nick that she is leaving in the morning. He right away comes to see her, and they end up making out. It escalates, and they go on to have sex. When Nick is about to leave, Jamie tells him to be careful out there, and as Nick walks in a street where no one is around, the Phantom Killer shows up and kills him right away. Early in the morning, while it was still a little dark, Jamie and her grandmother get in the car to leave. Before leaving, Jamie goes to Deputy Foster and gives him a file she has made. She tells him to give the file to his superiors, and they will know who the Phantom Killer is. On the way, Jamie pulls into the gas station and walks inside. She soon hears gunshots and finds her grandmother dying by the vehicle. The Phantom is seen shooting from a window in a nearby building. Jamie runs down the street and into the old Union train station. She picks up a gun. The Phantom follows her inside and calls her cell phone to find her. She runs to the train tracks where she finds Nick's body. She is shot down by arrows while trying to escape. She is then confronted by two Phantom Killers. One is revealed to be Deputy Foster, and the other is Corey Holland, Jamie Lerner's dead boyfriend who faked his death. Deputy Foster reveals that he is McCready's grandson. Holland is shot and killed by Foster. When Foster is about to kill Jamie, she pulls out her grandmother's gun and shoots him. The scene changes to Jamie having moved on with her life, and she is seen at college. In the last scene of the movie, we see that the Phantom's shadow is seen stalking Jamie as she walks in a secluded street. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.